Hey guys, welcome back to the AnKorage where everything is awesome, and this is Galactic Quest. Alright, welcome back everybody. Glad to see everybody. I tried to do this in the previous take and it wasn't working out because the light was just causing the camera to go like this, and I figured I'd try it again. So, what we're covering today is this is the inaugural edition of Galactic Quest. And I hope you like my border graphic. So let's see, pointing in that direction, we see the colonial seal up in this corner. And I've actually used that image to produce that image. So this corner, that's the channel logo, and I actually use this image and tweaked it out so that a little bit of a nod to Battlestar. And of course, I got the green anchor there, and then down in the sides here, we've got a Cylon Raider. This one is a little more up to date. Probably, I believe it was for BSG Online. And over here, we have a Viper Mark III. So in the show, you see Mark IIs and you see Mark VIIs. They're both rough. Those two are roughly about the same size, and it worked out very well for the show. But the Mark III that we've got here, it's that one. The Mark III is actually a larger aircraft / spacecraft because it can do both. It can fly in space. It can fly in the atmosphere. So I'm going to say aircraft. So it's a larger, beefier aircraft, and that is the design that folks wanted to actually use in the actual show. However, they couldn't because it was too big. The hangar deck set was, it was only like, if I was to eyeball it or take a wild guess, it was probably about 120 feet long. So not very big, but the size of a garage. And it certainly looks like a garage. And when you see the shots where you see the really extended, the extended hangar deck, yeah, that's just green screening. So just to give that image, that illusion that it's actually bigger than what you see. Excuse me. And so the Mark IIIs are too big. So we didn't see the Mark IIIs until the what was it, Machinima? Yeah, Machinima series of webisodes for Blood and Chrome. I actually owned the DVD for Blood and Chrome, which I actually think I have a Blu-ray of it too on there too, but I just have the disc. But and they so in that production they could actually use the Mark III, and they had a kind of like a little bit of a small mock setup of mock-up of the Mark III for the close-up shots. And what you see in Blood and Chrome isn't an actual prop. You're actually seeing a piece of a prop. And then the rest of the time you're just seeing CGI. And you can tell because you've got the nose numbers of 407 everywhere. And so from one to the next, it's just another copy of the same model file. So, and I know that from my experience with that I had with 3D models about 15 or so years ago, at least. So, but this video isn't focusing on that. This is actually focusing on Cubits. So this is the inaugural video for Cubits, or for Battlestar Galactica. And this series is called Galactic Quest, as it says right down here. And it's by the AnKorage. Ah, that's me. Ah, isn't that fun? Ah. Anyways, so this episode is a show and tell and a review of a purchase that I recently made on Etsy. And you can actually see what it is down in the link to it down in the description down below. It is Battlestar Cubits. And so I have 2 cubits here ready to go. And it actually came in a bag, which was this guy right here. And it came, when you open up the bag, you get a pouch of bubble wrap. So there's that. And inside that, you have this little bag. It's a little Ziploc bag. And then inside of that, you get your cubits, which are all actually in individual baggies that are stapled. And we'll actually take a look at all these out. And I'll be switching over to my phone camera for that, because I'll be just laying them out right here on my desk, on my game mat, or my desk mat. And so these are metallic, and you can tell because if you take 2 of them and you know, should be able to hear that a little bit of a ting against the metal, and they are plated. They're plated in a silver like coloring and a gold like coloring. Now, what are cubits in Battlestar Galactica? They are the financial currency. So, it's like we've got pennies, dimes, nickels, quarters, pounds, euros, krona, things of that sort, yen, yuan, and what have you, rubles. And with the rubles, we have, yeah. Anyways, so, and they have bills. So cubits are like dollars. And for the sake of simplicity, a cubit is a single measurement of a currency or value of a currency, and that's it. It's like we got pennies, dimes, nickels, quarters, 50-cent pieces or Kennedys, half dollars, and I actually have one here. But I actually have a quarter. All right, got a quarter that I can use for size comparison. That's a nickel. Let me grab a quarter. Here we go. All right. So, what are these cubits? What do they look like by size comparison to a quarter? All right. So, here is a Washington quarter. And if I can turn this around like so, and I get this one turned up. Let's get a gold one here. Here. That's that one. Let's get this. Okay. So, here we go. Here's a quarter, and here's a cubit. This is a cubit from Tyler St. Clair out on Etsy, and here is the quarter, so you can see the size difference. It's a little bigger than a quarter, and probably about 35% bigger as far as that goes, but they are metal, and they are about a hair over a millimeter thick, and the size actually fits very well for currency. And I actually have here an actual cubit, and I say actual because it is an authentic replica, and this is that right there. This is an authentic replica, therefore an actual cubit from Battlestar Galactica, the Ronald D iteration, and it's a coin. And here we are. So that's it right there. Now, what do they look like next to each other? All right, let's grab St. Clair's and that one. Put it next to each other. You can see the size difference. This one's silver. Where's the gold one? Oh, actually, that is the gold one. But it's not showing up as gold. That's the camera. So there we go. So it looks like silver in the camera, but this one is gold. And this one is gold-like in real life, but when you look at it in the camera, it looks like it's silver. So you can see the size difference there. They're not much smaller than an actual cubit. which is good. So there are 12 colonies. So you have 12 coin cubits, one per colony. And with that, you've got gold ones and you've got silver ones. So you could have a complete set of 24. So that's what I bought. I bought a full set so I could have all 12 colonies and both gold and silver. And there we go. These are metal, which is very, very good. And they do appear to be die struck, or minted, because I do not see any evidence that they were cast. Although I do happen to see a kind of like a mold forming impression. It's very, very, very faint, but it's there. So this may actually be a casting. I could be wrong, but by initial look, it looks like it's die struck, and something that's die struck has higher quality than something that is cast molded. I'll tell you that right now. So put that quarter back there, and I'll put this away. Okay, so something that's die struck is immediately far more accurate and valuable than something that is cast molded. Cast molded is very highly used in the reproductions market, and regardless of how good of a casting it is, it's still not as valuable as a die strike. So, but these are very, very, very good. If these are die struck, they are really good, and there's only the very slightest hint that these are cast molded. And if they are cast molded, the quality, the detail of accuracy is very, very good. These are metal, and that's a bonus right there. And the size of them are very good for the purpose of having, let's say, like a handful of them to throw in your pocket. They are much more likely better suited for coins that you could throw in your pocket. Whereas the originals, these ones, this size is not, more or less. They're cool, but we are talking about a television program, and you want to be able to see the said props, so they made them this big. Yeah. Excuse me. So make them this big so they can be noticed by the camera, and so that people can actually use them, but still be somewhat like a coin. These ones are more accurate in size to, let's say, an American $50, or a Kennedy as it's used today. A Kennedy $50, 50-cent piece. Not widely used, and not widely available, but yeah, they're available. Okay, so let's talk about the plating. Now, plating, the process is simple. You have an anode and a node. Basically, you have a container with a plating solution in it, and then you have a metallic object, let's say this, and when you plate it, you basically connect a piece of metal that has a lead that goes to a line that's charged with electricity, say a positive charge, and then that side would go to the side that actually has the material that's being used for plating: gold, zinc, chromium, whatever. You would put that charge to that, and then you would put, let's say, a negative charge on the item being plated. So you would attach that, hang it into the water or into the solution, and then you'd provide an electrical charge to that, bang. And what happens in plating is that the positive charge should be positive, I would think. I mean, I haven't done it myself, but I've seen the process. You take your charge, got that, you turn on the electricity, and so the plating source metal, such as gold, zinc, what have you. And what that does is it charges that up, and what it's doing is that it's actually blowing away particles of that metal into the solution. And then the charge of what's being plated is, of course, of the opposite polarity, and it is attracting those particles. And it attracts it, and it sticks to that object, and you leave it long enough, and you take off the charge, you remove the item, and you've got a plated item. What's the value of gold plating? Nothing. Gold plating has no value whatsoever. Why? Because it's plating. It's just particles of gold. And that goes with silver, that goes with everything. Yeah, so is this actual gold that's being used on these qubits? Highly doubtful. It's gold-like, and if I show you in here, you might be able to see a little bit of a yellowish kind of look to the metal. Let me hold it up next to the silver one. All right, you can kind of sort of see the yellowing over on this side and the silver over on this side. You can kind of see the difference there. So, is it actual gold plating? No. Is the plating on here actually nickel, copper, zinc, or whatever, stuff like that? It's maybe. I don't know which. It would probably be zinc, because zinc, I think, would be the cheapest to use. What colors actually used for the gold ones, I have no idea. So if anybody knows what that is, let me know down below. I'd appreciate it. So, the idea here is not to get an authentic replica. It's supposed to be, let's get as close as we can. And there's 12, so 12 colonies, so 12 qubits, and of those 12, you get one silverish one, you get one goldish one, and then you put them together, you get 24. So I've got 24 here. This one, however, this is the actual qubit. This is actually 24 karat gold, and that it was plated in. So that is why it's in the presentation case. This one. So I'm going to put that back. I had a silver one, but I happened to give that one away as a gift. So I've got the original one left. So now I've got these guys. Now, what am I going to keep these guys in? I'm going to put these qubits into this pouch. It's kind of like a velvet. It's just a cheapo thing that I got for something else that I'm not using the bag for. So I'm using the bag, and I'm going to be putting all of these qubits into this and holding it aside. So why don't we take a look at those and get a little bit of a closer shot on them. I'll be using the phone camera, so my apologies for the difference in the sound. And we'll take a look and we'll come back. Okay, and here they all are. They're all laid out. And so we got the gold ones up here on the top, and then from here over, these are the silverish ones. And for size comparison, I've got my actual qubit right here. I'm going to place it right next to there. It's the one for Caprica. So I've got it there. And so you can see the size difference a little bit. I'll try to tilt them up. Actually, I'll probably push these out of the way so you can see them. So there they all are. There's that. So there's Caprica Gold, and there's the actual qubit right there. So you can actually see the size difference just from that angle alone. So there you go. So I hope you like these. I certainly do. So there we go. And there they all are. All right. So there we go. There we have it. So there we are. So my review, just to summarize, it's very, very good. Is it perfect? No. The size is just it's off enough to tell that they are considerably smaller than what they should be, according to the actual qubit that I've got. How accurate is the workmanship? It's really good. They're metal. The dimensions are very good, nice and thick. They got the nice little ting when you slap them together, stuff like that. The plating is very good. I'm very happy with that. And any criticisms that I have? I do have one. Well, I have a couple, but one is just go with the obvious. It's not the same size as an actual cubit, so work on those dimensions, and there you go. Well, that'll make it cost more. At $124, you can keep it the same cost. And I'll talk about that more in a second. But as far as packing goes, packaging was fantastic. Great job on that. Good idea to use these little baggies to put each one in individually and stuff like that. My criticism of it is don't use these little staples. Those are metal. And they introduce the possibility of marring the surface of the cubit. And a purist will look at that and being like, that's cheap. So, these little bags, they what is it? Let's say it costs $1 for 100 of them, let's say, just for example. It's like, and let's say it would cost $1.10 for 100 of little bags like this with a little Ziploc on it. With that little Ziploc type thing on the top. That is a worthy expense. So, and it removes the risk of marring the surface with a metal object, namely the staple. So my suggestion is use little Ziplocs versus these guys. Because with these guys, you have to staple it with a metal staple. With the little Ziplocs, there's no metal involved. You just drop it in and zip it shut and done. There you go. As far as the plating goes, good job on the plating. I wouldn't change that at all. That was really good. As far as the manufacturer of we'll call it the planchet, or say a blank, here I've got one right here. Let's see. The finish that I'm looking at is along the edge, and on this one I can't say for sure, but I think there might be a casting line on it at the dead center. So if these are injection molded, that's fine and good and everything like that. Being metal, I think they're struck, because the details in here are very sharp details. So I think they are struck. Might they be struck half and half? Maybe. Can't really say. But in either instance, what I would probably do, when I'm looking at the finish, it looks like it's slightly rounded. Now, that could just be the plating process. However, if I'm wrong, and they do happen to be two halves pushed, molded together to make a solid piece, and if that is a cast mark, the only recommendation I have for that is additional sanding. To get a flatter surface, because right now it looks like it's slightly convex or concave. Concave, duh. Not outwards. It's got like an upper. It's like that. So you're looking for a flat. So if you're looking for flat, you're looking for, let's say like this. The finish on it with the reflection off of the sun, let's say, because look at the sun coming in from the door here. It looks like it might be slightly concave, like that. So that could just be the plating. And if that is what it is, let me know down below. Otherwise, more sanding, and with a higher, and you start off with a lower grit, continue on with higher and higher and higher, like 2 or 3. So let's say like this is just rough ideas. let's say 400 grit, 800 grit, and then 1200 grit. And then at the end of all that, buff the frack out of it. You know, and there you go. And then you would get, and then plate it. You know, so yeah, I'm slightly criticizing manufacturing, but at the same time, I'm not. Because these are really, really good, very worth the value on that. So the link to them is to the Etsy store, or the actual product page is down below. And once again, that is Tyler St. Clair on Etsy. And it's very excellent, and it's very worth a 4-star rating. So for folks that saw the rating on Etsy directly and stuff like that, there's why it's 4. So the 2 reasons. One is that, you know, it's that size. Primarily, it's that size. And the rest of it is because I don't give 5-star reviews, but that's just me. But it's a 4-star, and it's excellent. And there we go. So thank you very much for coming along on this inaugural video for Galactic Quest, and we will catch you next time. So thank you very much, and Skál.